This is going to be another highly requested video. We're going to go into some examples in regards to identifying higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows as well. And I'm going to show you guys a tip which would help you a lot when it comes to identifying your higher highs and higher lows, and how to make sure they are higher highs and they are higher lows. To get into that example, I'm just going to identify a few points which are higher highs, because as you see them continuously, you will kind of realize why they are higher high or why it may be a lower low. And then we're going to also show you an indicator which helps you understand how to carefully 100% spot your higher highs and higher lows. Now, this right here, this is going to be a higher low, right? Within the market. This is your higher low. Let me just label this as well. HL, or higher low. Why is this our higher low? Now, this is our higher low. We were kind of just in a range, we were just kind of going up. We were going up, we were going up. But then eventually, as you know, we made a high within the market. Remember when I told you guys in the first video, within the market, we made highs and we made lows. So we made a high within the market, right? So this was our highest point. Let me just use a circle to identify our highest point. This is our highest point. But then we had a massive drop. Then from our massive drop, we had a rally, right? So this was our lowest point before we had a big rally. That's why it's a higher low. Why is it higher low? Because this is a point at which we rallied from after a significant drop, right? Here again, we had a big drop. And then this was the lowest point which we rallied from after a significant drop. So this is also higher low. Let me just go ahead and clone this. All right. Let me just add some notes here as well. So this is kind of the same concept as well, right? Perfect example. Well, perfect explanation for the higher low. Higher low is the lowest point in the market before we see a lot of buyers re-enter the market. Remember, green candles indicate buyers, right? Remember, this was the lowest point in the market before we saw a lot of buyers re-enter the market going up. Same thing. This was the lowest point in the market before we saw a lot of buyers re-enter the market. This could also be a higher low. We did have a massive drop here as well. So we could say this is our higher low. Let me just go ahead, clone this, move it here. You could say that is also higher low. Remember, higher low, lowest point in the market before we see a lot of buyers just realized I actually spelled that wrong. Re-enter the market. Cannot type at all right now. But yes, remember, we had a big drop, then we created a higher low. This is the lowest point where buyers re-enter the market and push up price. We had another big drop, and then this is the lowest point before we see a lot of buyers re-enter the market, pushing price up. This is kind of a big drop, but not a seriously big drop. But we could also still say this is a higher low, right? And then we went back up, buyers re-enter the market, and we continue pushing up. Now, that is how you identify your higher lows. I'm going to give you an indicator which will help you identify your higher lows. You go over to indicators. So you press on indicators. This app is called Trading View. I'll also do a video on Trading View as well. Simply go to Trading View, type in pivot. So it's this one. It's going to be pivot points, high, low in sharp. So you're going to type in that the indicator and you're going to press the star to favorite it or to save it. And then you're going to simply tap it. Once you tap it, it's going to show you all your higher highs and higher lows, right? So let's say we change the time frame or the refresh. Let's go to maybe the 2 hour. Okay, cool. So remember, I said this is a higher low. This isn't totally off. This is the higher low. But see, it's marking the higher low over here, which is totally incorrect. And it's marking your high as well. Remember, I said the circles are highs. This is the higher low, or you can say this is the higher low. This is the highest point price was. This is also a higher low, which I marked as well. So I also showed you the higher low over here and the one over here. Didn't show you this one, but it did show you this high over here as well, right? It's showing you some more higher lows over here as well. This is also a higher low. So that is also a higher low. And this also is a higher low. What else? This also is a higher low as well for the market. Remember, we had a bit of a drop, and then we had a lot of buyers re-enter the market going up. Same case here, we had a bit of a drop, and we have buyers re-entering the market. Let me go to the 1 hour. So that one looks better on the 1 hour. So in the 1 hour, you're going to see a lot more higher lows. See, it's going to show you all your higher highs to the top and all your higher lows to the bottom. Remember, the indicator is called pivot points, high, low. So it's also showing you your lower highs as well, right? So let's go into the examples with lower highs. Okay, this is going to be the perfect guide for spotting your lower highs. To spot your lower highs is going to be basically the highest point in a downtrend before we see a lot of sellers re-enter the market, right? So you're going to see here, price is going to push down, and then price is going to come up, make a high. So this is one of the highest points within the downtrend. We're at one of the highest points, right? Like a high point in a downtrend. So you can see this is one here. We came down, we pushed up, and then sellers re-enter the market. We came down, we pushed up, and then sellers re-enter the market. A lot of sellers enter the market actually, push us all the way down, right? So this was the highest price went before sellers re-enter the market, pushing us down. This is also the highest point price went before sellers re-enter the market, pushing us down. In short, this could also be another low high as well. Could also say this is also lower high as well. Gonna mark this. There we go. And probably this would have been the last one here, right? And if you need assistance from the indicator, you simply go back to your indicator, on the indicator, and it's going to mark a few of them. So you see this one, it actually marked your lower high here, your lower high here, your lower high here. So remember, these are lower highs here, right? If you want to mark your lower lows, I would say this would have been your lower low. This would have been the lowest point of the market at that point in time. There and there as well. And that this indicator would provide you with guidance on the indicator again. So it's going to show you this one, and this one. And then it's going to continue as you go up back into an uptrend to track your higher lows and your higher highs. So I would suggest if you're having any issues spotting your higher highs and higher lows in the market, remember these two things. Higher low is going to be the lowest point in the market before we see a lot of buyers re-enter the market. And to spot your low high, remember it's going to be a high point in a downtrend before we see a lot of sellers re-enter the market. Take notes of this, and the indicator is this one. This is essentially pivot points, high, low. All right, pivot points, high, low. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description of this video as well. But that's it for today. If you guys need any one-on-one assistance, as usual, send me a message on WhatsApp or simply go ahead and message me on one of my TikTok pages.